Are you planning to grind from Epic to Mythic as early as you can, but struggling because of the Dark system? Well, this video will surely help increase your chances of winning as we discuss all the new best heroes for solo rank after the recent update. Expect to see some useful tricks, along with their updated items and emblems. Let's start right away. Let's begin with Edith, who is an excellent pick for the EXP lane and roam this season. Edith has become a priority ban and picked today due to her multiple crowd controls, which can be chained together to lock down enemies for an extended duration. This leaves them unable to do anything, especially if they don't have Purify. Aside from crowd control, her ultimate can also deal a significant amount of damage, not to mention that she is still a marksman. Check out this insane outplay right before our marksman arrives. Speaking of Edith's ultimate, Primal Wrath, I've noticed that players think that the more Wrath you collect, the more damage you deal, but that's technically wrong. First, let's see her damage without any stacks. 416 is the damage from her passive, which is the chain lightning that lasts for 3 seconds, and 225 is the damage from her basic attack. Now let's try it with full stacks, and you'll see that the damage stays the same. This is because, technically, the Wrath stacks grant not damage, but instead provide attack speed, hybrid lifesteal, and a shield. It also has a knockback effect, which can be useful for her stun lock combo. Here is Edith's stun lock combo. As soon as you catch the enemy with your second skill, immediately cast your first skill, Earth Shatter, where the target will land. Then, use your ultimate to knock them back and finish them off with your long-range attacks. You can also use Flicker right after casting Earth Shatter to make it unpredictable. If you're playing as an EXP laner, it's best to wait until you hit level 4 before engaging in a fight, as your ultimate can grant a huge advantage in one-on-one encounters. The 2 additional skills from Edith's ultimate, after ejecting out of the Gundam suit, have Immobilize and Slow effects, which help her land basic attacks more easily. If you're playing as a roamer, your focus should be on setting up and engaging with your crowd control skills while absorbing damage from enemies. There are different variations for Edith's build, but here's the one I'm using for the EXP lane and roaming. You can swap out the Starlium Scythe for blade armor, and swap Flicker for Vengeance for more sustainability. Next is Alice. I mean, this Alice, that suddenly became the most hottest pick today. One reason Alice is back in the meta is due to a huge recent buff to her mana regeneration and mana growth, which we all know is crucial for her to fully utilize her skills. With better mana sustainability, she can stay longer in skirmishes and spam her no cooldown ultimate, making her even more effective in prolonged fights. The funny thing about Alice is that she can fit into almost any lane, except for roam, but she's currently shining the most in the gold lane. Alice is item dependent, so she needs to farm well, making the gold lane the perfect spot for her. Given that many meta gold laners have been nerfed, mage gold laners like Alice are now a strong option, and Alice is performing really well with a full mage build. Even in the MPL, Alice is being picked by the best gold lane players, and it's surprising how effective she can be in such highly competitive tournaments. On top of that, Clock of Destiny, one of Alice's core items, now comes with a 10% cooldown reduction. This is a huge boost because it lets her spam her first and second skills more often. And for those who don't know, every time her ultimate hits, it reduces the cooldown of these 2 skills. So the extra cooldown reduction from Clock of Destiny makes Alice even deadlier. But before playing Alice, remember that Clock of Destiny now provides stacks every time you deals magic damage, adding both magical and physical defense, or what we called hybrid defense, perfect for her abilities that require getting close to enemies and tanking some damage. You can also benefit from the passive effect of Elegant Gem, which restores 15% of your HP and mana every 60 seconds when they drop below 50%. Pair it with the right late-game items, and Alice outplay potential makes her almost impossible to take down.
An ambulance, but not for me.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Aurora is currently the top performing mage, especially since meta mid laners like Zask and Juxin have been adjusted and nerfed. Another reason Moonton hasn't nerfed Aurora yet is because her upcoming collector skin is about to be released, although it was slightly delayed.
Shut up and take my money!
Aurora's ability to make anyone hard
Yeah, boy.
with her stuns offers excellent crowd control with wide skill range, making her perfect for teamfights and counter initiations. Aurora may not have a dash or high mobility, but her passive ability provides her with a level of survivability similar to Winter Crown, creating opportunities for potential counterplays. But before you play Aurora, you should know how powerful her first skill is. It's great for poking enemies, dealing a solid amount of damage, plus it has only a low cooldown. So even if you don't have your ultimate ready, just using your first skill alone in a clash can make a big impact. Her combo is simple. Just ensure you hit your targets with the stun from your second skill, then immediately cast your ultimate to chain the stun, followed by your first skill to finish them off. Take note that only the far end of the fan-shaped area will freeze enemies, so it's important to avoid letting your opponents get too close. Lastly, the freeze duration of your ultimate is longer when you have more magic power, so don't forget to clear the mid lane minion wave before ganking for faster gold farming. We mentioned the nerf on Jask earlier, and it's mainly about reducing the attribute inheritance of his spawns in the early game. This means his spawns are easier to kill in the early game since they now inherit less defense and HP from Jask. I think this is a fair update that has led to a lower ban rate for Jask, but to be honest, he's still incredibly strong. Even though his spawn was nerfed, it's still useful for leashing. To maximize its damage, just move away from the camp so the jungle monster doesn't get tankier. To protect your spawn from being killed easily, wait for your opponent to use their skills first, then position it away from your minion wave. This way, the enemy will be confused about whether to target your spawn or the wave. And just like before, once you have your ultimate, you can easily gank other lanes and pick off enemies, even if they're under their turrets, since Jask's ult is really powerful. There's really no escape for the enemy as long as you execute the combo correctly. That's why he's still one of our best hero to pick right now. This isn't often noticed, but technically he has a double blink, which makes him great for chasing enemies. But before playing Zask, my tip is to avoid falling behind in levels, because your spawn's attributes depend on yours. The higher your level, the more defense, HP, and magic power your spawn gains. This will catch your enemies off guard when they try to kill your spawn and realize they can't, leading them to end up dying instead. His combo is still the same as before, but you should know that if you use your second skill before summoning your spawn, the enemy won't get stunned. But if you have a summon anywhere around you, it will work effectively. On the other hand, Jushin, whom we anticipated would receive a nerf, ended up getting hit harder than expected. Her mana regen took a big drop from 28 to 10, and her stack limit went down from 30 to 20. Even though they increased the mana restored per Crimson Butterfly stack from 3% to 4%, you can really feel her performance drop. And to balance it out, her skill 2 won't use any mana if they only hit minions or creeps. Good thing they followed up with a balancing buff after that overkill nerf by slightly reducing the mana cost for applying Soul Snare in the late game. The big question now is Jushin still good for solo rank? Opinions are mixed, but personally, I think she's better in a team since she's really more of a team-oriented hero. It's tough to get solo kills with her, and you usually end up needing backup when you run into enemies. Unlike Lunox, who has pretty much everything a solo player needs. She has invulnerability for tower diving, and can also counter assassins. Plus, she has super strong burst damage that can delete anyone in her way. She has also been used as a gold lane pick, to counter the current Alice meta and marksman since they're basically paper against her. It's also great if you know the Ruby DD play with Lunox to surprise opponents in the late game. Now for assassins, Julian is still one of the top choices for solo rank. His skills are super powerful and tricky, and the pull effect of his enhanced basic attack is really frustratingly strong. One silly mistake can get you picked off easily since the enemy will know you have a 4 to 5 second cooldown after using all 3 skills. Fanny and Ling are still solid picks in solo rank because of how insanely fast they can rotate around the map. What you need before playing these two is dedication, as it can take months to master Fanny and Ling. My advice is to focus on accuracy over speed at first. You don't need super fast hands right away, just make sure you're landing your skills even if you're a bit slow. You'll only struggle now with deciding whether to prioritize the turtle or the purple buff because, with the new update, the buff from the turtle will last throughout the entire game. Once you've mastered these heroes, they're perfect for solo rank because unlike 5-man team composition, solo rank is all about picking off the weakest lane and building a lead until the enemy can't recover from the constant pickoffs. If you're having trouble with the two, here is Nolan, who is great for ranking up today and easy to learn. Nolan also received a great buff, that's why he gotten so much pick today. Although the cooldown of his skill 1 and skill 2 was increased by 0.5 seconds, which is hardly noticeable, the cooldown of his ultimate was reduced, allowing him to pick off enemies more quickly.
As a scientist,
if you're confused about Nolan's combo, here's a very basic explanation to help you out and avoid any confusion. Use this combo when your target is a bit far. Lastly, for assassins, here is Hayabusa, whose ultimate has been a hot topic due to the recent nerf. Although the damage of his ultimate was reduced, the speed of his strikes was increased, which many believe is actually a buff for Hayabusa. This change allows him to create more TikTok plays with his shadows, as the duration of his ultimate in the late game is now much faster. Next is Gata, who is incredibly strong in the EXP lane and roaming. He can easily bully marksmen with his second skill's Taunt plus Vengeance combo. Next is Ruby, who is incredibly powerful in both the EXP lane and the gold lane. The crowd control she provides is devastating, along with her strong spell vamp and low cooldowns. I want to know if you guys would like me to create a separate video about this new hero, as there's a lot to discuss about him. I want to focus our videos on one hero at a time to make things easier for us. And if you have requests for other heroes that are currently strong in the meta, just comment down below.